Good morning, America. It's Susie Newscaster here, broadcasting live from our Times Square NSP Newscasting Studio. We are so thrilled on this Monday morning. We have the nationally recognized Teacher of the Year coming from just a few short minutes away, H.H. Lehman High School in the Bronx, New York. Today we have Mr. John Smith, who worked really hard at this underperforming school to create a lasting effect for these students. H.H. Lehman was set to close down for the 2016-2017 school year. We're excited to hear from Mr. Smith as to what he had to do with that no longer happening. Welcome, Mr. John Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. It is wonderful to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're so honored. Thank you for all you do for our students here in New York. So tell us, Mr. Smith, a little bit about your upbringing. You're from Brentwood?
Yes, ma'am. Brentwood is a suburb of Los Angeles in Southern California. Had a great childhood growing up near the city, but also being near the beach. Very fortunate.
That's an amazing place to grow up. And Mr. Smith, you went to Harvard School of Education for both your undergrad and your master's.
That is correct.
So you always knew you wanted to be a teacher.
Yes, always from when I was a little kid knew that that's what I wanted to be.
That's an incredible thing. So what made you seek H.H. Lehman High School? Because according to my research, you sought after that position at this underperforming New York school.
When I finished getting my master's, I knew that I wanted to be able to help students that needed it the most, and I thought that if I looked for a school that was having a hard time or possibly closing down, that those are the students that need you the most. Every child needs good teachers, but some places need a little bit more than others.
I agree with you there. So when I did my looking into H.H. Lehman High School, I found out that for the past 10 years, on average, about 2 out of every 3 students did not pass their math regents tests.
Yes, that is true.
And you came into the school just last year.
Yes, ma'am.
And how many grades do you teach?
I teach 9 through 12.
9 through 12. And you teach what subject?
Math.
Math. So you had a really hard task at hand.
Yeah, it was a lot of students to try to bring up to grade level and to try to help them pass their tests. It was no small task.
Absolutely. What was H.H. Lehman like walking in this past school year? What was the culture, the atmosphere? What were the students thinking?
It was pretty eye-opening to see. It was definitely a culture shock compared to where I had grown up. A lot of pregnancies with the students, gang violence, just attitudes of people that didn't want to be there, a lot of absenteeism, students just staying home and not caring. That was the pretty common trend around the school.
I imagine. So, Mr. Smith, you couldn't have magically made their math scores rise. What did you have to do to ignite that flame within your students?
I think that to start off, we had to not really focus on school. We had to focus on the students themselves and trying to figure out what we could try to do in order to help them actually want to be at school and to try to get them there. And then from that point, you try to teach them the things that they need. So try to go out into the community and work with the students and understand where they're coming from.
Community.
That way you can then try to encourage them to come to school and show them why they should want to be there and then help them learn from that point.
So you went out into their Bronx community?
Yes, ma'am. Go to their sports games, go talk to their families, things like that. Try to get to understand the way that they live.
And from there, you started to develop a relationship with your students.
Yes, I think that that's the first and most important thing you have to do with your students. If you want to ever try to reach them or actually truly teach them the things they need to, you need to develop that relationship.
Unbelievable. And so tell us, how did your students perform on the Regents exam?
They did wonderfully this year. Brought grade levels up in tremendous amount. Got most of the students to grade level and where we needed to be. And really helped turn the school around.
And your graduation rate?
It was increased tremendously. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but we've brought it back up to where it needs to be.
So then the state of New York comes in and says, we're good. we're not going to close this school.
Yeah, they realize that it's an asset to the community and that it needs to be there to help the students, and they're going to keep the school open.
What an accolade. That's amazing for you. So you went, and your colleagues nominated you to be Teacher of the Year.
Yes, ma'am.
And then from there, you were Regional Teacher of the Year and State Teacher of the Year. And then you worked your way up to this National Teacher of the Year for bringing these students to where they need to be.
Tremendous honor, and I appreciate all the other teachers out there that nominated me for that. There's plenty of people that were just as deserving, if not more deserving. I'm just the one that was lucky enough to have achieved this honor.
How amazing. So, Mr. Smith, how did your school repay you? Are they giving you a raise? Do they want you to keep doing what you're doing?
They took my leadership with what I was trying to do in the classroom, and they've actually recently asked me to come back to be the principal of the school.
The principal?
Yes, ma'am. Try to
wow.
keep turning things around and try to help other teachers try to follow in my footsteps, I guess.
How inspiring. So, Mr. Smith, one more thing before you go. We do have to ask you, there are a lot of ladies out there, and we want to know, are you married?
No, ma'am. Single man. The children, they're my focus. That's what I'm passionate about, and at this time, that's what my focus needs to be.
Wow. Well, we will have to see about that eventually. Thank you so much for coming in, Mr. Smith, and congratulations with all your work.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Goodbye. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Just a wonderful man teaching our youth here in New York City. We are so lucky to have Mr. Smith and other great teachers out there. So a big congratulations to him from our newscaster. And so long. Happy Monday.